You take care of the ball, you give yourselves a chance. Team low, 7 turnovers, huh? 7 turnovers. Was that a shot at Caitlin? Hey, I'm just saying, look, the people are in the comments saying that. The first thing I thought about when I heard it was, I ain't heard you mention this. All of a sudden, Caitlin don't play. You mentioning the turnovers.
Stephanie White looked into the camera, a subtle smile on her lips, the residue of victory still fresh in the Indiana Fever locker room. The Las Vegas Aces, a dynasty that has haunted the league for years, had just been dismantled. But as White addressed her team, she didn't praise the talent of Caitlin Clark. She didn't mention the gravity-defying passes or the deep threes that warped defenses. Instead, Stephanie White chose a different metric. She chose a pointed dagger. You take care of the ball, you give yourselves a chance, right? 7 turnovers, she said, her voice dripping with praise for a statistic that directly indicts the absence of the league's most famous rookie. In that moment, a line was drawn in the sand. The subtext was nuclear. This wasn't just a coach highlighting a good game. It was Stephanie White leveraging the media to drop a truth bomb. It was an open declaration that the Indiana Fever, a team built around the gravitational pull of Caitlin Clark, looked better in her absence. The victory against the Aces wasn't about who was on the court, but who was not. The applause in that locker room for the season-low turnovers felt less like team camaraderie and more like an exhalation of relief. A relief that the chaos Caitlin Clark brings was on the bench. It was an honest moment, revealing a fundamental fracture. Is Stephanie White the mastermind building a system, or is she the architect of Clark's exit? Is the Fever better without its cornerstone? The analysis must start with the brutal, undeniable reality of the box score. The Fever did not just beat the Aces, they handled them. They moved the ball with a crisp efficiency that has often been absent with Caitlin Clark on the floor. The team low of 7 turnovers is a staggering number for a league obsessed with possession. But who was the point guard? It wasn't Clark. It was a committee of players, Raven Johnson, Ty Harris, who aren't trying to thread the needle through 2 defenders on a no-look pass. They are system players executing a system that Stephanie White clearly prefers. This game is the ultimate data point for White's argument. Control wins games, even if star power sells tickets.
I mean, the point guard play was awful, let's be real. Raven Johnson was okay at best. Ty Harris, 0 of 4, 4 points in 26 minutes, 4 assists. She stunk. Like, let's be real. The point guard play was piss poor by the Indiana Fever. It just looked like the Aces didn't want to be there. But hey, let's continue. Let's get into it.
I'm sure this has to be a season low 7 turnovers. You take care of the ball, you give yourself a chance, right? 13 offensive rebounds. Extra.
The friction is palpable when you listen to the critique. While White celebrated the low turnovers, the reality of the point guard play was awful and piss poor by her own admission. If the point guard play stunk, yet they still won, it wasn't a testament to the guards, it was a testament to the support system. Kelsey Mitchell becomes the silent beneficiary of this. With Caitlin Clark out, the focus shifted. Mitchell didn't have to share the spotlight, she was the spotlight. It highlights a fundamental coaching philosophy. Stephanie White is building a team where the guard is a facilitator of the system, not the system itself. Clark is a hurricane, and White seems to want a gentle rain. The long-term consequence is a standoff. The rookie, who is the future of the league, is being told she doesn't fit the present of this franchise. The Fever is signaling that they are willing to sacrifice the box office for the win column. Let's peel back the layers on the psychological warfare here. Caitlin Clark is not just a rookie, she is a phenomenon who has collapsed defensive structures since college. Her turnovers are the tax you pay for her brilliance, a willingness to risk failure for the chance of a highlight. Stephanie White, however, is a disciple of the old school. She comes from an era of basketball that predicates success on defensive integrity and offensive efficiency. When White watches Clark, she doesn't see the 15 assists, she sees the 7 turnovers that negate them. This clash is a generational war. It's the analytics revolution versus the eye test, but dressed up in a Fever jersey. White is essentially saying, we are better without Caitlin Clark, a statement that, if true, is a terrifying indictment of the roster construction around her.
I don't know. It's definitely seeming like some shade. You already, and the team is better without Caitlin talks have already started. Her system works when CC is not in. CC interrupts her system because CC is her own system. You know what I'm saying? Look, she's low-key shading CC. Trade Caitlyn, stop wasting her prime. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this is, everybody is saying she's shading.
The whispers of shade have become a roar. People on social media are saying her system works when CC is not in, and CC interrupts her system. This is the key to the entire drama. The Fever roster was meticulously crafted to play a specific brand of basketball, one predicated on spacing and defensive switching. Yet, Caitlin Clark's dominance requires a roster that can adapt to her pace. It requires bigs who can catch floating passes and shooters who can spread the floor to the logo. Instead, they have a roster that looks better suited to grinding out wins. The Fever didn't lose because of Clark, they won in spite of her absence. But the data in that win suggests that her teammates, perhaps Kelsey Mitchell, play with a different level of freedom when they aren't waiting for a pass that could be intercepted. The psychological hurdle for Clark is now monumental. She must return to a locker room that witnessed its best performance of the season without her. This is where the narrative shifts from coaching to existential dread. The Kelsey Mitchell team narrative is no longer a rumor, it is a contractual reality. The Indiana Fever has made a decision. They are building around the veteran guard, not the rookie sensation. This is an unprecedented move. To deprioritize a player of Caitlin Clark's caliber, a player who single-handedly shifts the WNBA's valuation, is a financial and franchise-altering disaster. The league is betting on Clark's marketability, and the Fever is betting on Mitchell's stability. It's a high-stakes gamble where the house looks like it might lose.
They're building this team around Kelsey Mitchell. They have built a team to play without Caitlin Clark. They built a team to play without Caitlin Clark better than they built a team to play with her. I think it's very apparent. I think it was intentional. I think it's very intentional what they've done. And this just needs to end. You know what I mean? I'm just ready for Caitlin to part ways. The Indiana Fever clearly want to go in a different direction, and that's the decision they've made.
They've built a team to play without Caitlin Clark better than they built a team to play with her. It's a chilling assessment, but the evidence is mounting. The Fever is sitting on a ticking time bomb. They have a rookie who is generational but flawed, and a veteran who is reliable but not a superstar. If Stephanie White is publicly celebrating a lack of turnovers as a high watermark of her coaching, she is publicly admitting that the Caitlin Clark experience is not something she desires. The future predictions are grim. Caitlin Clark will eventually ask for a trade. The fanbase will turn on Stephanie White. The team chemistry, currently fractured, will shatter entirely if they don't capitalize on Clark's rookie contract. As the dust settles on this locker room controversy, the verdict is clear. The Indiana Fever are at a crossroads that could define the next decade of the WNBA. You have a coach, Stephanie White, who is willing to alienate her superstar to win her way. You have a front office that seems to agree. But the tragedy is that Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a movement. To be better without her is a statistical anomaly that signals organizational rot. The narrative arc is complete. Clark is the star the Fever drafted, but not the one they wanted. But let's hear it from you. Is Stephanie White justified in criticizing Caitlin Clark's turnovers, or is she sabotaging the franchise's future to stroke her own coaching ego? And if the Fever truly is building around Kelsey Mitchell, is that a wise long-term strategy or a massive mistake? Get down in the comments, let the world know.